Hello Linux lovers, my name's Wimpy, welcome to my world. Okay, the great internet blackout of February 2022 is behind us. Had a bit of fun and games the last few days with almost no internet connectivity around these parts. But we're back in business. So the last two streams were an unmitigated disaster due to the internet at the front end of the internet failing on us then due to the storms. So we'll see how it goes today. But we'll pretend like the last two streams didn't happen. And there's been a lot that has happened in Quickemu since those two streams. So I think a new version of Quickemu is ready for prime time. There's some interesting changes and a lot of work gone into this release, so I'm going to run through some of those highlights and make sure that everything is working as intended, and if it is, then we'll pump out a new release. So welcome back, Danny. Hello, lovely to see you here again, long time no see. Danny says that they've been meaning to look at the Windows stuff, so yeah, that I fixed that again, and I'll take a look at that. So I have found a way that does seem to change the Windows experience during the first setup for both 10 and 11. So I'm going to go through that to show what that looks like, and also as sort of a validation that I think it is once again fixed. Particularly the issue I was looking at resolving was these weird third-party authentication sources for online accounts. I think that's fixed, so we'll go through that. Hello Rich Codes, welcome back. Hello Luke, hello. Hello Daisy Bobs, welcome to the stream. Thank you very much for stopping by. Right, yeah, so Rich is asking, internet blackout, yes, here in this house, in this property, and in fact most of the people on this side of the village had no internet for the last 3 days, effectively. Came back about 3 o'clock yesterday afternoon. Yeah, the storms, I suspect they're the root cause of this, but you know, we're still doing scavenger hunts to reclaim stuff that got blown away. So Luke is sat in Starbucks. Very nice too. I'm not in Starbucks, but I do have a fresh cup of tea. Oh, that's so good. Hello Linux Paul. Welcome. I'm sure you have a nice hot beverage as well, as is your usual want. So let's have a look. Hey Phil, thank you very much for stopping by. Phil has been instrumental in helping get this release out the door. So we haven't done absolutely everything because software is never finished, but I'm really happy with where things are. And Phil and I have still got a laundry list of things to go through. And sorry, Phil, due to the said internet blackout, we haven't had that chat about the documentation yet. But let's do that in the next couple of days or so. It should be a good time to do that now. Hey Henrik, welcome back. Right then, so yeah, get yourself a morning cup of coffee, Danny. Yeah, that sounds agreeable. Right then, so welcome back. Let's get into this. Let's start with the important stuff. So what is the important stuff? I suppose.
Thank you for the follow, Orcond.
Hey, Orcond DK, is that? I'm never certain where the hyphenation's supposed to be in those, but welcome. Thank you for the follow. I appreciate that. So let's take a look. We'll move over to here and we'll take a look at the project so you know where we're talking about. So this is the project on GitHub, Quickemu-project. There are several components to this. Quickemu itself, the thing that downloads and configures stuff automatically. So the engine, if you like. And then QuickGui, which is the Flutter UI that Yannick and Mark work on. Then we've got some packaging repositories here. And then an icons project. And I'll be demonstrating where that comes into the flow a little bit later. We have some work to do on the icons because the distro support or the OS support has grown considerably in the last couple of months. I'll be showing how all of that works. Wow, chat's busy this morning. Welcome back, everyone. Yes, it's Tuesday, Danny points out. Let's just do that. That detail had escaped my attention, but yes, it's the 22nd of the 2nd of 2022 today. So it's all the twos. Right then. Let's bring up the... Well, let's take a quick look here to give some impression. When I did the last stream that wasn't interrupted, that was the merging and catching up on stuff. At that time, we had 42 pull requests outstanding, so we've got that down to 4, and in between whiles, there have been new pull requests made as well. This is one I'm watching with eager anticipation for FreeDOS. I don't think that's going to land in time for today, but, you know, never mind. Hello, Yannick. Hello, how are you? So, we've only got 4 outstanding, and...
A year of watching in an evening with a newborn 1-year-old. Now me and my wife have our first day together without kids for 4 years.
Wow. That's impressive, Luke. Those are important days. Yeah, I think it took us 6 years to get to that milestone. Yeah, very good. So most of these are doc related that Phil is working on, so we'll be improving the documentation soon. So that's like team stuff. This one doesn't merge at the moment because of the significant changes that have happened elsewhere in the code, so I may assist getting this one in at some point. So we closed a load of PRs. Also, we've closed about 30 bugs, so there are bugs remaining because there always will be, but these are not hideous, and some of these just take a little bit of time for me to go through, and some of them are feature requests, so, you know, do those as and when. But the bugs, most of it's enhancements as opposed to actual, you know, broken stuff. But then if we go and look at the commits, there's been quite some activity in that regard over the last few days. So you'll notice that as I go down this list, I've been ninjaing lots of discrete features and capabilities all the way through. So I think just over 100 commits in the last sort of 3 days, fixing bugs and cleaning stuff up. And most of that work has happened in QuickGet. So that's the tool that automatically downloads operating systems and automatically configures the virtual machine for those operating systems. So there has been some significant improvement in the way that QuickGet works, but most importantly, how easy it is for somebody to add a distribution or an OS to QuickGet. And that's because overwhelmingly the activity that we saw in the project is around QuickGet, people adding new operating systems to the supported list. And what I've done there is I've folded some code, used some introspection in Bash to automate and remove some of the boilerplate, so the actual implementation that's required is much smaller and easier to maintain. Easier to maintain for us on an ongoing basis as distributions release new versions of their operating system, but way easier for people to get started. So if we just move over to the code editor, this is the QuickGet code itself, and I put the here's how you add an OS right at the top. This has been here for a while, but I've simplified these instructions based on the changes that have been made. So, hey, Fimian, welcome to the stream. Thank you very much for stopping by. So, from a developer point of view, it's very easy, or significantly easier. And what the real distinction in this release is that we used to, if these are the pretty names, this is fine, but we had this list of distros here. And what we had is the likes of Linux Mint, for example, had like, Linux Mint hyphen Cinnamon Mate KDE. So they had 3 listings. Garuda had half a dozen listings, and MX Linux had a bunch of listings, and Nix OS. And so what was happening is that these distributions were sort of spamming the OS list with multiple versions. So we've split this out. So the OSs are a single top level entry, and now the releases, and now we have additions alongside it. So I'll just show what that looks like by comparison by bringing up a terminal here. So if I go to my test directory, and I'm going to run quick-get from the development branch. So if I just run quick-get on its own, it says, well, you need to supply an operating system. And you can see here are the list of the top-level OSs that are supported, and there's only a single OS listed. Because then if we say, well, I'm interested in Debian, it now tells me that there are 2 releases that are supported. So I want 11.2.0, and then these are the additions. So let's try something different. Let's pick up LexQt. So now with that command composed, that will download that edition of Debian and automatically create the virtual machine configuration. So seeing as though the internet gods are smiling and that looks like it's going to download relatively quickly, we'll actually launch that in just a moment. So by taking this editions feature, we've been able to significantly grow the operating system support in
Thank you
Quickemu.
for the follow, Mad0_0Fury.
Mado Fury, thank you very much for the follow. I appreciate that. Welcome to the stream. Thanks for stopping by. So this is looking good. And what we'll do now is we'll run, give you another example. Fedora previously was in
Thank you for the follow, Ross Madness.
Hey Ross Madness, thanks very much for stopping by. Thanks for the follow. So, let's take a look at Fedora. Now in the past, Fedora only supported the Workstation edition, but by using this editions, I've updated it. So now we have multiple releases of Fedora, and you can also install several of the official from the project operating systems like Silverblue. That this will be quite a hefty download, but also the server edition and all of the community spins. So for example, the Mate spin. So this significantly grows the options that are available for running Fedora via Quickemu. So hopefully for those people that work on Fedora and its spins, this is a much more comprehensive tool than it was previously. So let's take a look at another example. I think MX Linux is a good example. So if we look at MX Linux now, 1 release but 3 editions. And as we create these, it will automatically name the VMs accordingly. So what this now means is if we list the CSV, I think that's the command. No, just list. There we go. If I pipe that through WC -L, so this is like the way that the Quick GUI consumes its list of supported OSs. We're now at 371 OS combinations that are supported by Quickemu, which is kind of crazy. Now some of that is the fact that you've got 3 versions of Fedora, 3 releases of Fedora, and then 10 different spins to sort of flesh those numbers out. And it's a similar thing with Windows 10 and 11, where there's multiple languages which are treated as editions, but nevertheless it's a fairly comprehensive list of stuff. Now I've noticed some chat, so let's just go back and catch up. Hey Paddy, thanks for stopping by. Good to see you again. So, morning RJ, morning Graham. Welcome back, you two. Good to see you here. So, let's have a look. Paddy, I'm gonna have to just put a bit of effort him finding some of these. One mini moment. Right. Let's have a look. We've got this question from Paddy. So I meant to ask you last time you streamed, before you unceremoniously cut off, has QuickGet got the ability to just download the ISO and keep it in a directory of the user's choosing? No, it can't download to an arbitrary directory. It will, put it in a VM configuration, but you do have the ISO. But that's an interesting idea, and maybe something I might think about implementing in addition to this. This is part of an effort that Bill gave me the idea for. If we look at this list here, this is what Quickegu consumes. It can be, I can't remember the commands actually. Is it JSON? No. Is it that? No. I can't remember. Anyway, it exports JSON as well. But this list, I was thinking, what if we were to produce a list like this, but instead of being something that Quickemu consumes, it is like the complete list of everything that's available with the fully expanded URLs and checksums and hashes and everything. So it's just like a big catalogue of this is the download links for like insert 300 operating systems, or nearly 400 operating systems. But the idea to arbitrarily download to somewhere, yeah, we could add an option to do that. QuickGet download only, maybe. That could be something we could do. It's not a bad idea, actually. I quite like that idea. Yeah, it could be useful. So then, let's have a look at some of this other stuff. What's this now? Let's have a look. What was Danny talking about here? I saw something. No, I'm not seeing where that came from, but there was some conversation here. So, here we go. Danny says this. Hang on, let's find these things. Right, so Danny suggests, rather than a huge monolithic QuickGet, might be worth moving support functions to a library file and import them into distro-specific scripts. So if we look at the code, I don't know that that's necessary now, because this has become a lot easier to maintain. Let's go and look at that Fedora example for a moment in the code here. So if we just go and find Fedora. So here we go. This is where you sort of maintain the lists, and it is, as simple as echoing out a bunch of text. These get transformed into arrays and what have you internally, but this is what's required to maintain the actual listings, the releases and the additions. And then if we go look at get Fedora, this is one of the more complex examples, believe it or not, but this is the function for Fedora. So yes, whilst it all lives in this sort of single script, I have reduced the size of the script considerably by about 1/3 by using some introspection in Bash to actually automate away a lot of boilerplate that we had. And I'm going to continue to work more on that to get this down. So for example, even this bit here, I think we can throw that away so people don't need to do this, they don't need to know whether they're using additions or not. So that's sort of an example of the code. And then if I talk about the introspection, then what have we got here? So down the bottom of the script here, we used to have a massive if then else, hundreds of them, because for each operating system. So what we do now is we do an introspection to say, well, have we got an additions listing function for this operating system? If so, enter into this and automatically handle all of the releases and editions composition. We've got one outlier, which is Regolith, that it isn't clear that they have releases or editions. The two are kind of intertwined because they've got 1.6 available across multiple releases and 2.0 across multiple. It's very confusing. So they're a bit of an outlier, so we handle that here. Then Ubuntu is also an outlier because of the way that we have sort of the Ubuntu from the project and then the flavors from those individual teams. So we handle that with a single function, but that we don't support the editions. The flavors are not editions like you would find in Fedora, for example. And then Windows, and then we have finally a catch-all, which is to automatically do the validate and call the appropriate get functions. So that means that this bit of code here you almost never need to update. In fact, I added a couple of new operating systems last night to sort of test the process of adding new ones and sort of see, well, where was the boilerplate? And there's a couple of spots, but it's really minor. You don't have to mess around with all of this. And most importantly, is it CSV here? This function here, you also used to have to update, but you used to have to know why you needed to update it. And that's all gone away as well, because that does the same thing. It goes and looks to see, is there an additions function? And if there is, it automatically does the appropriate thing. So again, there should be no requirement for anyone adding or maintaining releases and editions to actually come in here and manually update this anymore now. It all happens automatically. Which is a huge improvement in my mind. So let's... Gosh, there's a lot of chat. This is going to take a while to get through. So let's just have a little look where I got to here. So hopefully that answered some of your questions, Danny. But yeah, breaking it out into individual scripts, maybe, but I'm not a huge fan of doing that at the moment. Right then. I'm just catching up. So I'm supporting all the current invocations. Right then, RJ, do you have the option to install pop? Well, let's go and have a look, shall we? So let's do. Let's just do that. In the list here, we should see Pop OS. There it is, and. So if we have a look at Pop OS, we can install 2110, and then we can choose, which edition to install. Now, the other thing is, the first edition, or the edition that is listed first, is the default. So when you look at something like MX Linux, where the XFCE version is what they call their flagship. So if we look at MX Linux, it says XFCE is first. So if you were to just say quick get MX Linux 21 and hit return, it will, he hopes, there we go, it will download the XFCE version. So if you don't supply an edition, it will use the first edition that is in the list, which should be the distribution's like principal offering. So a bit like with Linux Mint, what you'd find is Cinnamon is the default. So if you just say I want Linux Mint, you'll get Cinnamon. So that's kind of catered for as well for, sensible defaults. As you will have seen, we don't... Glad you like that. We don't have the same thing for releases, and that's because that's a bit more nuanced. So if we look at Ubuntu, for example, well, which do you want to install first? I might be a developer, I might want the devel release. I may be somebody building a VM that I want to run like a development process in. So maybe I want vocals. So I don't think you can presuppose what distribution release to install. So consequently, we don't do that. So you have to provide a release, but then the edition will give you the most sensible default. So yes, we can install Pop! OS. Hey Esme, thanks for stopping by. Right then, so Daisy Bob says maybe a -- here option to download to the current folder. Yeah, we'll have a think about it. I think just using it as a downloader is a perfectly useful feature, and in fact something that's new. Let's do this live. Through a pull request, we got Aria 2. Is it Aria or Area? I'm not quite sure on the pronunciation. But somebody added support for this, and it will automatically now do the right thing. So if we say, what were we doing? We were going to, well, let's do Pop! OS 2110. There we go. Instead of using wget, it will favor Area 2 download client if it's available on the machine. So that's something that's in Quickget and will automatically work that way. And Quickemu will need to grow the skills to read this percentage marker of, as opposed to the wget output. But I've informed Yannick that that's something that can happen. The advantage of Area over wget is that it can initiate simultaneous download streams from multiple places, so it can download faster. You can utilize more of your connection to download more quicker. So I think this CN is the concurrent downloads that it's actually initiated, which is 5. But that's my sort of overly simplistic view on this. But as you can see, it's not going to take long to download that. Right then. Let's see what else we can see here. It's best to standardize on. Right then. Yeah, so yes, there are ways that the project could be organized differently. I'm reluctant to do that because having some simple scripts that are just 2 scripts makes it very easy to actually get those out to people and source the functionality. We have got a very simple cross use where Quickget can call into Quickemu, but I don't want to get into managing hundreds of shell scripts as a logical whole if I can avoid it. The simplicity of large scripts is favourable. What could make things easier is maybe those something I've considered doing, a bit like producing having Quickget produce a full index of everything it can download with the fully expanded URLs and hashes and what have you. If we were to have some sort of in air quotes database, either JSON or YAML or CSV, where you actually update the editions and the releases, maybe that would be better. But I'm not inclined to change any of that just yet. There are more interesting problems to solve in Quickemu than reorganizing the code. It's just rearranging deck chairs for the most part. So Paddy says okay. Right then. I like thinking of supporting each OS as a plugin. Yeah, okay, so yeah, I understand. Alright, let's catch up. Okay. Right then. Right, okay, I'm all caught up on the chat there, so thank you all very much for all of those comments. I think I'm all caught up now. So if we go back over to this tab here, we were downloading Debian. So now it's downloaded and created the machine configuration. Let's actually just boot this very quickly, because if you've not seen it run, so we just run that with the VM. I need to whiz off up to the other screen. Here it is, and we'll boot that. So this is the current version of Debian. Ugh, it's gone rather large, maybe too big for my screen. We're just about get it on there, but also interesting that it did the right thing. That's kind of good. I don't know if this works. I've never tried Debian LexQt before, but let's see. Maybe it doesn't work. Doesn't look hopeful, does it? Oh, there it is. There we go. There we go. It's working. So there we go. There's Debian LexQt, just like that. So that's all up and running just fine. It's telling me a bunch of things about batteries, which is reasonable. Right, anyway, so there we go. So we'll leave, shut down. Do you really want to? Yes, please. There we go. So that's just one example of, you know, how quickly you can do this. So in 2 commands, that's the whole point. Quick is in the name. 1 to download, create the configuration. 1 to run the VM. Right, there we go. So Danny's talking about, you know, there's several people talking about breaking up the code of Quick-Get to make it easier for people to contribute. If anything is evident, there is no significant hurdle to people contributing to Quick-Get to add support for new operating systems, as evidenced by the significant OS support that we now have. I don't think that's a significant enough motivation to start breaking the code up, because people are not struggling to add support for new operating systems, and that's before the changes that I've made over the last few days, which make it even easier for people to actually start contributing to Quick-Get. So I'm not highly motivated to make significant changes there. I think we'll look and see what the effect of these current changes are, where the amount of boilerplate has been significantly reduced. So it should be easier for people to get stuck in. So I think the thing I want to look at, I've pre-downloaded these. I've downloaded the images using Quick-Get for Windows 10 and 11. So that's quite a straightforward process. Windows 10 is like so. This shouldn't actually do anything because it will see that it's already downloaded. And there we go. So it's all done. And Windows 11 the same. So we'll actually start up Windows 10 and 11. I've deleted the configurations. I have to move quickly here to get the press a key, and then I'll drag the VM window down. So this is Windows 10. So the reason I'm running an install of these is we have had a perennial problem where Microsoft is changing stroke adapting its policies regarding the requirement for using an online account, or sort of making it an actual requirement, and that has manifested itself in a situation where during the Windows install stroke setup, you don't just get asked to create or use an account from Microsoft. You sometimes see some random system integrator. We've had SAP, various universities and schools, and different outfits where you're not even being given the option to sign in using a Microsoft account. It's like some other organization, and that has cropped up persistently. So I think I've found a solution, and we're going to go through this on Windows 10, and we're going to do Windows 11 more or less at the same time. So I'll start up Windows 11, go up here and get interrupt the press any key, and bring this one down. So there we go. So we've now got 10 and 11 side by side, and we're going to go through these installs because a small change I've made has actually had quite a significant difference in the user interface that's presented. So
Thank you for the follow, Ravandui.
thanks very much for the follow, Ravandui. Welcome to the stream. So right, yeah, Danny, we can have this debate all day long, but I'm telling you, the rate of contributions to this project significantly outpace anything else I've worked on. I don't think there's a significant problem to solve here, and you know, I'm not going to reorganize the whole code base for no good reason. I don't have any data to support the notion that it is hard to contribute to. Quite the opposite, in fact. Right then, let's go through this. So we're going to kind of do these side by side as best as we can. So we'll just kick off both of them. Oops, I needed to highlight that window first. So most of the automation is still in here, and that's thanks to Danny, in fact, from, I think your project is Clouds, right, where that work was sort of pioneered. What's this? That sounds like an ISO source issue. What sounds like an ISO source issue? So does this make it Windows 21? At the same time it does, yeah. Yeah, okay, I've caught up what you're talking about, ISO source issue. No, it's nothing to do with the ISOs, as Danny points out, because what happens is if you're connected to the internet, and we'll see it happen, Windows automatically updates the installer from the latest stuff that's available from the update servers, unless of course you start the VM with no network enabled. So what I've done is Danny added an unattended capability, so much of this install process happens automatically. It automatically elects the Pro version of Windows, it automatically petitions the disks, and Danny added a bunch of stuff when the machine actually comes up. The installer pre-installs a bunch of the drivers for the virtual machine optimization. I've added some extra bits to Windows 11 to make it more likely to work based on the sort of the changes and requirements of TPM and stuff like that. So big chunks of this are automated. And one of the things that will happen is the installer gets updated during the install, and there is one flag I've found which is to skip automatic activation, which doesn't appear to do exactly what it says because it still activates, but it does seem to prevent this hooking into third-party online authentication sources. The testing I've done over the last few days, I've never bumped into this problem, and we'll see a different sort of user workflow as you go through the setup, and bits of this are no longer automated because you have to elect whether you want a personal setup or I think they call it office setup or something. But we'll see these in just a moment. Yeah, so it's interesting, isn't it? Until Windows 11 actually gets up and running, they look remarkably similar. There are a lot of similarities. Right then, so we'll just let those whir. I'm just looking in the chat here. Yeah, right, here we go. So let's start. So oh, I'm on the wrong virtual screen. Gosh, every time. Right then, let's do this. So yes, we're in the UK. You can probably tell from my Australian accent. Right then, we've added the keyboard. We don't need to add another one. Let's do the same over here for Windows 11. So yes, we're still in the United Kingdom. Yes, we're still here. We don't need another keyboard. So far they look a little different, but the workflow is the same. I have to say I quite like Windows 11. You know, at a superficial level. It's interesting that working on this project has reintroduced me to Windows in more of a way than okay, that's interesting. So Danny, you're going to have to elaborate on that point. Danny says it's immediately obvious to me it's immediately obvious it's working. So Danny, I need to know, what is it you have seen that tells you it's working? Because this that we're looking at now, this is my clue. It would have rebooted before asking the locale. Okay, good. Okay, so this is now what we're seeing on 10 and 11. Do you want a personal use or work or school? And this dialogue, this screen, has been entirely absent in an automated setup using Quickemu until the recent changes. And so this does enable, although, you know, they will take you down the path of using an online account, but here we go. I can follow the, you know, the hidden path, and I can create a local account. And as you all know, my password is test, by the way. So we'll do the same over here on Windows 11. We're going to say personal use. The flow is slightly different. Just as naggy, we have to go to sign in options. We have to choose offline account. And then we have to say, yeah, I don't want a Microsoft account. And now I'm creating a local account, just as I was in Windows 10. And of course, you know, my super secure password is test, by the way. And then we'll go through the security questions. My first name's pet was test. Where was I born? Test, obviously. And question 3, my childhood nickname. It's fascinating. It's test. So we'll do those security questions. We'll do the same over here. And Windows 10 is showing me something else that I've never seen before as well. Now Windows 11 doesn't do this. But if I just get through the security questions, there we go. We'll set that to that. And then, so this is new. So I was used to seeing the Cortana nagging stuff, which will come up. I hadn't seen this before, so I'll just skip that. We'll then get the Cortana nag. We'll say not now. And that should complete the rest of the setup. And you can see Windows 11 doesn't give you those same, you know, prompts about your experience and all the rest of it. So at this point, I'm feeling pretty happy. So thank you, Danny, for your insight.
Thank you for the follow, Papa Smurf of Death.
Papa Smurf of Death, nice one, like that name. Welcome to the stream. So Danny says the out-of-box experience would load, followed by a mention of updating, and then reboot without any of the input if it's broken. Okay, good. So what I can't tell is if, because Windows 10 and 11 got newer versions since I tested this at the back end of last year. So I don't know if it's a change in the version of Windows or... But I do know that the online activation piece definitely is having an impact. So it could be a combination of both of those things. But nevertheless, I feel like it's actually doing what we intend, which is to give the person installing the machine the ability to elect either an online account or an offline account. So
thank you for the follow, Stupid Pathfinder.
Also another great name. Hello, Stupid Pathfinder. Thank you very much for the follow. Welcome to the stream. So there we go. So we've now got both of these up and running. We'll do that later. And then the extra automation that Danny added, the appropriate VM drivers have been installed as well. So these are as optimized as they can be. So we'll just shut both of these down. I wonder what that was. A random celebration, and I can't account for what triggered that. Oh, come on, I'm on the wrong screen. And shut this one down. So both of those installed in the way that we want them to be installed, and for as long as we are able, we will continue to fight the good fight and try and preserve the local account only login, which from what I've read, I think is being sensationalized a little bit in the media, because I think once you start using these unattended tools, you can continue to coerce Windows behavior to expose local logins, because and we did brute force a solution to this some time ago, which was when we detect that the Windows VM is being booted off the ISO image for the first time and hasn't been installed, we completely disable all networking to the VM, which of course forces a local account creation only, because there is no internet, there's absolutely no networking whatsoever. So we do have that in our back pocket, which we could potentially, use. So Ross Madness asks a question. When they first introduced Cortana to the Windows out-of-box experience setup, I was setting up about 30 laptops to be imaged, and the whole I bet. And the weird thing is that there are none of the options to automate the out-of-box experience can skip by that Cortana piece in Windows 10. It's just completely unavoidable. The things I've learnt about Windows in this journey. Hey Popey, how you doing? It was you, fair enough. Why does Ubuntu in QuickGet use code names, not release numbers? Because that's the paths that they're available from on the servers. So for that reason alone, could change it to release numbers, I suppose. But yeah, just because that mapping is its release names, not numbers, in the way the images are published. But it's a good point. We could create a mapping. So let's have a look. Yeah. Okay. Well. Yeah. The way that it works is it actually goes and downloads the big list of SHA hashes to get the versions out, and those don't have version numbers in them, only code names. So it just makes that simpler. Yeah. So the URLs have numbers; they are symlinked, but where we go and look to actually resolve the ISO name, it's code name references only, but it's all doable. I'm not adding both, Rich, but numbers probably make sense, and I think numbers probably mean more to people than code names, so that's a reasonable improvement. So something I wanted to show here, which is great, just as a little bit of fun. There's an OS that was added, which I didn't know about, called Calibrios OS, and this only has, oops, I misspelled Quickemu. This only has a latest release and there are no additions, so we're going to go and grab that. Going to let that download. It's only going to take a few seconds to download, as you can see. And once that's downloaded, it's nearly done. There we go. We'll fire this up. So what's interesting about this is and it's not Linux. This operating system is a bit like Serenity OS in that it is entirely from scratch, and it's all written in assembly, and it runs in 8 meg of RAM and this is it, and it's surprisingly complete and lightning fast and runs on hardware and implements a number of the network and video drivers from Linux. It kind of has re-implemented those drivers in its own kernel. So if you've got old hardware, like perhaps your name is Alan and you've got a load of antiquated ThinkPads, this thing boots off a floppy disk and is a lot of fun to play with. It's got a TCP/IP stack and a web browser and all sorts of tools and stuff built in. It is, look, this is the control panel. You don't want for much here, right? There's a whole bunch of stuff in here. It's got a bunch of, retro desktop games and stuff. It's remarkably complete and tiny. I think when this was added, the support was set to, it's super fast. So I've got this tuned to only use 128 meg of RAM, which is way more than it needs. And I think the disk that's allocated, the author suggested 256 meg. I've actually given it 2 gig, but you could have a lot of fun with this on some old hardware. And here's the web browser here. So it's an interesting one. I enjoyed having a little tinker with this the other evening, but there's loads of stuff in here, and it's all sort of quite nicely presented, and it also has a whole bunch of different look and feel options, although I think I configured this from a different place the other day. But anyway, if you've got an old laptop and you want to have a play, this is definitely very interesting. I thought this was pretty fantastic, but also it doesn't feel like a science project. It actually, like, there's loads of stuff in here that's genuinely useful. So yeah, there we go. An interesting addition. So you can, if you've never seen Calibrios OS before, you can go and grab the current version of Quickemu and run it up. And I think it was one of the Calibrios OS developers that actually submitted the changes, and they needed to not just add the quick get stuff, they needed to add a few conditionals to the Quickemu engine, because this is kind of like unusual, so they had to tune the engine for the thing. Yeah, so the look and feel, Yannick says it looks like Motif. They've got maybe 100 different themes in there, including ones that look like old Ubuntu and what have you. So yeah, it's a good fun project, that one. So I think I've gone through most of what I wanted to look at there. Is there anything that I haven't gone over? We've gone over the internal changes in QuickGet. What's this? People are filing issues. Ah, right. Okay, I think I know what that is then, Popey. That's for the using the numbers. Okay, cool. We'll take a look at that. Right then. What versions of macOS are supported? Quite a lot. So, QuickGet, macOS. There we go. High Sierra, Mojave, Catalina, Big Sur, and Monterey. Catalina is the best support. It's a bit frustrating. Big Sur and Monterey don't have working audio. I don't know why that is. I need to check back in with the Open Core project to see if they've figured anything out there. But yeah, so Mac OS, relatively decent support. Catalina is the better one to use, in my opinion. Until we get hardware pass-through working on PCI devices and you can add your own audio and stuff, then that's a bit of a faff. Right, so Popey says, do you only do supported versions, i.e. would you add DOS on Windows 95? So there is a PR at the moment for here we go, FreeDOS. So that is coming. As to Microsoft DOS and things of that, yeah, so this PR adds FreeDOS 1.2 and 1.3. They've got a question on an issue they ran into, so I'm just trying to help them get through that. So I mean, so long as it's available, I mean, Windows 95, not really. I'm not really interested in that. Part of the problem is that most of the support things, the discussion is around people actually trying to use the operating system that they've put in the VM, rather than actually like issues with Quickemu itself. So when you start adding antiquated stuff like that clearly isn't going to work properly, do I want my life to be people complaining Windows Update what doesn't work for Windows ME anymore? No, I don't want to hear about it. Is there a version of Windows 95 that's available, like a ISO image? I mean, it's all tractable, but yeah, I have no need for it myself. But yeah, we'd need sources of actual install media, that can be digitally grabbed over the internet. It's only 2 decades now since Windows ME. Gosh. Right then, so I did bump the version of this to Quickemu 3.12. I suppose what we will do is, just for completeness, what we'll do is we will do this. We'll just remove this because I know Yannick hasn't had time to implement the support for that yet, so I'm not going to do this, but I will copy quickget to there and Quickemu. So this is a quick and dirty install from me, but what we'll do is start up the current released version of QuickGui, which is here, which is now going to be looking at the current version of QuickGet and what have you. So if we take a look here, this we can now see like you can see where the new distros that have been added, because they don't have the pretty icons yet. But let's go and find something that's interesting. Void, that's not too big. So we'll select a version, so current, and then this has additions, because you can either just have the command line version or one with a graphical user interface. So let's grab the one that uses muscle, because that's curious, and we'll hit download. So this is using a current published version of QuickGui on top of the brand new version of QuickGet and Quickemu. And the reason why I'm doing this test is that I try to be mindful of introducing changes in the engine that might break QuickGui. And so what I can see from here is that we haven't broken, despite the fact the internals of this releases and editions has completely changed. It's implemented in a way that's compatible with what QuickGui consumes and uses. So Yannick says on Thursday evening at the latest, Quickemu will gain the ability to pass the ARIA 2 output. Wicked. That's wicked cool. So I thought that was an interesting addition to the project, adding that. So, yeah, that'll be great. So, Yannick's channel. Yannick, do you want to just type in chat where your channel is, and then people will know where to find you, and they can get followed now, won't you all? Get followed now, so you can see when Yannick updates the GUI. And that's Flutter. This is all implemented in Flutter. So, I changed one line in QuickGet, and it works. Okay. PR's welcome, Popey. Okay, and there's Yannick's channel there, and if there we go, there's the popover, and if we go, oh, that's the wrong browser. Let's do this the other way. So let's go here. There we go. So this is Yannick's channel. We'll just turn that off. Why do I see myself there? Oh, because you're you're doing that auto hosting thing that we have reciprocally set up. So here's some of Yannick's recent streams where he's been doing some dev stuff. And then also later tonight, whilst we're here looking on Twitch, Yannick and I will be over here this evening, Linux Gamecast, because today is the unveiling of the new tracks for the week. So Yannick and I and a few others are participating in these Trackmania race weeks. On a Tuesday, a new bunch of tracks get released onto the Linux Gamecast server. We try them all out, vote on them, and figure out which stay, which go. And then on Friday night, we have a competition and we race those tracks. Trackmania is fast becoming something of an addiction for me and some of my friends. It's a lot of fun. If you like a bit of Trackmania in your life, do consider joining our Discord. We've got our own server. There's a server for Wimpy's World that myself and Yannick and a few others are managing. We've got community created tracks. Everyone's painting their cars. It's a lot of fun. But it's highly addictive. We have our own tracks even, indeed. So I think then what I'm going to do is actually prepare a new release, because I'm going to say this is good to go. Based on the testing that we've done so far. We saw that it doesn't break Quick GUI. That has, done the right thing. So we will go and prepare a release. And this is going to be hefty. So let's draft a new one. This is going to be 3.12. 3.12, and then we're going to hit the auto generate button, and this will automatically pull in everything that came from pull requests from people in the community. And as you can see, there was quite a bunch of stuff there. So
thank you for the follow, Bartonby.
Thanks very much, Bartonby. Welcome to the stream. Right then. Let's see here. We've added Ghost BSD, added NetBSD, what else? Dev1 was added. These are ones where I've sort of we had languishing commits and I've gone through. And then we'll say Right then. I'm not sure if I want to add any more, because everything I did was basically updating it all. We can see all of this good stuff here. Look, quite a lot of new contributors this release. It's good. So we'll just leave all of that as is, and I can always edit that if I need to think of anything new. So we'll publish this release. Hey Dust, how you doing? Atom's been getting a workout today. There's been loads of channel point redemptions. Go and check your channel points, see if there's something that takes your fancy. Yeah, not too bad either. So there we go. Who was that, Paul? So you can see my lights have changed because so there you go, Dust. There's a feature improvement for you, queuing up these things so they don't run concurrently. Yeah, I know it's on the roadmap. I'm going to keep reminding you about it. Sorry. So I'm running the current beta at the moment. Right then. So there we go. We've got a release out. So let's actually get the packaging updated as well. Look at all of that. That's pretty great, isn't it? Looking good. So I think that's one of my favourites, Esme. I like that one. I'm particularly fond of the sort of retro lighting that I've got going on for this. You can only see it on my camera, that. But I like this sort of sepia lighting. Oh, it's finished. There we go. Right then, let's go and do this thing. So, for those of you who are in chat, if you've used Quickemu before, put a Q in chat, and if you've never used Quickemu before, put an X in chat. I'm just curious how many people are here because they've used it and how many people are here because they're curious about it. So X for you've never used it, Q for you've used it. Interesting. Someone's used it a lot. Hey, welcome to the stream. Is it Cedar Tree? Welcome. Okay, interesting. So a lot of people are familiar with it and have used it before. Okay, and then a few people that have not used it before. So those of you that have not used Quickemu before, is this something that you would consider using in the future in preference to, you know, say VirtualBox or something like that? And if not, why not? What's it missing? I'd love to know. I'd love to know what we're not doing to make it like a useful feature. So let's head here. Can I even remember where the packaging for this is now? Oh yeah, because you're on Mac OS. Although there is work. I am told it works on Mac OS now. And I've asked the person that said it all worked fine with their scan instructions to update the documentation with the steps to get it going. And of course I do have a filthy Mac over my shoulders now, so technically I could go and test it myself. Right then, let's have a little think. There we go. It is here. Oh. Well, that was unexpected. Have I put it in here? Yes, maybe it's in here now. Gosh. Yep. Right then, let's do this in here then. There we go, that's the right one. So get rid of you. So this is going to be 3.12-1. Let's see, we're going to build this for focal, among others. Let's have a look here. So let's see some of the feedback we've got here. We do have decent USB pass-through. DirectX 12, no, not so much. The accelerated drivers don't do DX12, but we are looking at doing GPU pass-through, which would be the, clincher. And Danny asks, does it work on the M1 Max? There's a... yeah, I am told it does. I haven't tested it because I don't have one, but I am told it does. Right. Yeah, so you can pass through a Stream Deck, no problem. I've updated my Stream Deck firmware using on Windows by passing through the Stream Deck USB device using Quickemu. So that I can confirm that works. So Graham says they're kind of an X, not used it. Plan on using it to replace infrequently used Macs, which will be straight to eBay. Right, okay. Not successfully used it yet. And you suggested that might be due to a hardware issue. Pull request and testing done. Nice one, Popey. Okay, so that will be in 3.13, which I think is going to follow in quite short order, because why is that not doing the right thing? Oh, so looks like featured chat's having a bad day. Brilliant. That might be on the screen. Steam Deck, yeah, not Steam Deck yet. No. Right then. Well, that's annoying. Let's try and refresh that and see if we can get this to go away. Right. So let's try this again. I'm going to turn off the whole alert overlay thing for the moment. Apologies, featured chat's having a moment. So let's get this done. We'll rattle this round. I'll tell you what, Danny, I'd love your help to automate this with GitHub Actions. So as we pump out a new release, it rebuilds the packages for us. That would be awesome. Oh. So let's do this. Build it for focal. Oh no, we need to go and grab the upstream tarball first. There we go. That's why we do the release. And now we build the tarball. So the I need to assign the packages, so let's unlock that. There we go. So we're going to do focal, impish, no, hirsute first. That is still supported, isn't it? Just for a little bit longer. In fact, that's going to be fast approaching EOL, won't it? But there we go. There's hirsute and impish. And jammy, which is going to be the next LTS. Right then, so let's we don't need the F at the moment. So Popey, as a not developer, how difficult did you find the contribution process to QuickGet? Given what I was saying earlier about it's now easier than ever. I know it's a bit of a meme of the channel, but actually implementing some of these things in shell scripts also seems to be a means to lower the barrier to entry for people. Impish, suit, and focal. Right, well that's fantastic. So those will be going up to the PPA. They should get built quite quickly, so anyone using those PPAs, they'll get those updates. And I noticed that in places like Arch, in fact, didn't somebody add a new thing? Let's have a look. Didn't somebody add a repoology chart to the README? I'm sure I saw. There we go. There we go. So we now have one of these. So I don't know how this works. I don't know how you add PPAs to get this tracking this stuff, but traditionally the AUR version gets updated pretty quickly because that is the way, apparently. Yeah, Graham, I'd be interested. So Graham's discussing the issue with getting it working because of it's to do with oh, I've turned this blooming thing off again, haven't I? Yeah, feature chat's not working, unfortunately. Oh, there we go. Now it's working. Right then. Yeah, there are some machine specific registers that the Mac OS requires. Now we do try and catch that. So I don't know how long ago you used it, Graham, but we catch the MSRs that macOS absolutely requires that the hardware doesn't support. Like I know, for example, that Luke that was in here earlier, he was unable to run it because I actually put gates around your CPU doesn't have the required features. And those have been nuanced over time with feedback from experts in macOS virtualization to actually make that a more reasonable set. So 2104 is obsolete already. Okay, yeah, I thought it must be because that would have been yeah, nearly a year ago now. Yeah, so that would have expired in January, I suppose. Right, well I'll stop updating that from this point onward then. Right, search and replace. So Popey makes the point that yes, if it was any other language, I almost certainly wouldn't have bothered looking. Interesting, isn't it? Yeah, I know shell scripting around here is, well, it's a perversion of mine. I love doing stuff in Bash. Although if you saw recently, I did write, you know, a driver for accelerometers for Ubuntu Mate in C for the GPD project. There's 2 more of those on the way that I'll be working on soon, by the way. One of those is a gaming device, specifically a handheld gaming device, given the popularity of Steam Decks at the moment. Right then. Oh gosh. So Dust tried doing something in Bash the other day and ended up going back to JavaScript. But my experiences are entirely the opposite of that. Start trying to do something in JavaScript and then revert to Bash. Right, so a new release is out. For those of you that haven't tried it before, maybe you'll give this version a try and let us know how it's working for you. And as you saw, Yannick's got a stream coming up in a couple of days where he'll be updating Quickemu to support that new capability with the downloader. And yeah, I think we're in good shape there. I don't think there's anything else I need to demonstrate. I'm, as always, very happy to get a new release out, and hopefully off the back of this we'll start to see some new pull requests and updates and what have you from the community. We've already had one whilst we've been streaming from Popey. He's on Twitch as well. He's streaming regularly again now. In fact, Popey, you're streaming not just on Twitch, but you're testing the waters over on YouTube, right? So I do believe that you can find twitch.tv/PopeyDC and youtube.com/Alan Pope. So streaming a go-go. Mostly streaming, not Hotshot Racing, Trackmania. Yeah, my daughter's making a track. I've started making it. In fact, my daughter has made a track that I need to. Yannick, I need to speak to you about that to get that on the server. So that's a legit finished track and was entirely created by her. Like, I was cooking and she's made this track, which is interesting. And I've got one in the works as well. So, yeah. Hey, Cassie Dev, welcome. Right, yeah, we'll add that to the list. It's called Down the Dragon's Tail, the one that my daughter has created. So it's a fun drive. It's a shortish track, but yeah. Right then, but yeah, she likes theming and making things. So yeah, doing track design was totally in her wheelhouse. It was after I told her that your daughter had made a track that she was like, oh well, I've got to have a go then. Yes, Wimpy's World Speedway Incorporated. Yeah, that is. And so yeah, if you've got Trackmania Stadium, that's what we're playing at the moment. Start Trackmania Stadium, go to the servers, search for Wimpy. You'll find our community server. Join our Discord, wimpysworld.io/Discord. Let me just do that. You can find there, and that's got all the details for who's playing, what we're playing, the passwords for getting into the server. We are a bunch of beginner/intermediate racers who are using these servers to sort of get better at the game without fear of embarrassing ourselves on the public servers where the experts play. Right. This is good. So Graham says, awesome, I'm successfully installing Mojave on a 2012 ThinkPad. Excellent. Do let me know how you get on with that. You were 491 commits behind master. Wow, that's an impressive statistic. It can't have been that long ago that you last tried to use it, but there we go, 491. Holy moly. Hey, Tommy Luco, welcome to the stream. Right then. What else? What have I got coming up? So, if you like virtual machines and all that stuff that we've been talking about, day job is working with container technologies. So, we also stream on Slim DevOps, twitch.tv/SlimDevOps. We do container tech on that channel. Me and my colleagues from work. So if you like a bit of container tech, get followed over there, because it's a bit like this, but a bit more professional, because I've got experts at hand rather than just my lonesome. So yeah, we've got some stuff coming up on Thursday there. That'll be interesting, Yannick. Maybe we can get coordinated and hand over a stream. This Thursday, we're joined by Brendan O'Leary from GitLab, and he's going to be talking about their hackathon that they've got going on this week, and we're going to be looking at doing some CI/CD integration with Docker Slim. I think that's what we're going to be doing. But anyway, if you want to find out more about what's going on at GitLab, head over to twitch.tv/SlimDevOps. We'll be getting into all that with Brendan on Thursday. As for upcoming projects, I think we'll let the dust settle on this new release of Quickemu. I think we'll pump out a new release again next week, just sort of tidying up the fringes and the edges based on what we learn. I'm going to have to put some work into Ubuntu Mate, so I'll go through some of that in the preparation for what will be the 2204 release in April, but I really need to pull my finger out and wrap up a few pieces. I heard from my friends in Debian that there's new packages being uploaded to Debian stable that I require, so I'll be looking at bringing all of that in to get all of those fixes and improvements in. So we've got some Ubuntu Mate stuff coming up. Definitely got that coming up. I really need to crack on with that. And then maybe next week I'll make a return to Retro Home, because with this new release of Quickemu I can now reboot my dev environment for Retro Home, and I've got a ton of stuff I want to be doing there, and also want to play some retro games, and that's a good way to do it, so I'll be getting into all of that again. So, so lots of people talking about ditching Mac OS. Yeah. The screensaver is still crashing on 2110. Yeah, I haven't put the fixes into 2110 yet, Danny, but they're in Jammy. I will put them into the PPA at some point, but I have to prioritize where I spend my time on that. Right then, so yeah, oh, and then I've got these two devices coming from GPD, one of which I'm a bit cautious about, because I think it's going to present some problems. And I've also been experimenting with, I've got some new controllers, here's one of them. So this is a Scuff Instinct Pro, and I've got this working wirelessly with Linux, and I've made some contributions to the upstream project called X1, the driver, in order to get the Scuff devices working on that. And I have to say, I've been super impressed with this. And I've got some other controllers on the way as well. I've realised I've got a controller addiction problem that I didn't realise I had. Kind of caught me out a little bit. So yeah, I really need to do. I've got lots of controllers that aren't in the STL controller database for Linux. So I think I need to basically pull all of my controllers in one place and do a stream where I just get the fingerprint data for all of these controllers and do a massive push, a pull request to that project for a ton of controllers for Linux support in STL. Because I'm sitting on most of the ones that are absent. So I need to figure out how to do that. Yeah. So how are you getting on there, Graham? Have you got a working system? Yeah, it takes a little while to do the install, doesn't it? The download doesn't take too long, but then it takes a little while to do the setup. So as always, a massive backlog of stuff for me to work on, and at some point I need to refresh my OBS set. Popey says OBS fully loaded needs an update. I think a new release of OBS fixing NVIDIA issues, and as if by magic, it's done. So if you run the current version of OBS fully loaded, that will pull in the updates for you, no problemo. So yeah, Yannick ran into that very problem, and I think it should be fixed now. Yep. So yeah, we're in good shape. In fact, I'm running it now. I'm using NVIDIA, and I'm running that new update to do this stream. So here is a live test of that fix. So there we go. So yeah, just rerun the current version, and it should all be working. And so OBS fully loaded is another project of mine, and I have updated a couple of times in the past week with. So if you're on Ubuntu or a derivative, in fact, let's just head over so people know what the heck we're talking about. In my Wimpy's World project, there is this thing here called OBS fully loaded. And as it says, it's OBS Studio fully loaded for Ubuntu. So without looking at all of the things, this is what it installs. So it installs a fully accelerated OBS Studio, which comes from the official team's PPA, but then it binds on top all of these plugins, which make it an amazing tool on Linux, just with the couple of rare exceptions, feature parity with, you know, what you can do on Windows, and which is why I can have fun with all of this cool stuff on my streams. It should get 20. Make sure you've got the latest Git, Popey. If not, I'll look into that. I'm sure I fixed that issue where it should get the latest version. Yeah, okay. It should be working. So, who likes this? Linux Paul. So yeah, this is in here, and there's a couple of interesting new additions. This one here, teleport, as an alternative to NDI. It's not an NDI protocol, it's an NDI-like replacement. I really like how this project is developing, and I can already see that they've got a new release out, so I'm going to have to update for this, but I'm loving teleport. I much prefer it to NDI. So if you've used NDI with OBS, you want to take a look at teleport. It's amazing because it supports audio as well. Okay. There may be a bug then, Popey, in the way that it passes the things. If you just do an apt update and upgrade, it should pull in the new version. But I'll take a look and see what's going on there. I'll test it after this. So, if you like a bit of OBS in your life, this is pretty cool, despite the bug that Popey's just pointed out, which may not be pulling in the latest update. Right then. Yeah, I'm not sure the cache is going to help you, Yannick. I'll look into it. I'll look into it afterwards. Drop into Discord. We can have a chat in the broadcasting channel and figure it out after. Right. Apt upgrade gets it. Okay, good. My concern is that if you run OBS fully loaded, it may downgrade. So I'll have to look into that. And I will look into that after I'm finished here. So yeah, that's I quite like that project, I have to say. I also need to update the OBS Snap, because now, as you say, Popey, that hotfix is out. I more comfortable in updating that. Right then, just having a quick look to see who's around. Oh. Okay, I found somebody doing something that looks interesting. Let's do this. All right, here we go then. Right then, we're going raiding. We're going to go over to Streamlining. They're casting aspersions on Linux and talking up BSD. So we're going to go and see what they're up to. Thank you all very much for stopping by. Hopefully you found that useful, and I'll see you tomorrow morning. I'll be back tomorrow morning with another one of these. Bye for now.